Yeah, still over here at Firehouse, but about to go live with a rerun of a show that we did with several ladies of the blues. So that should be a great episode for y'all to catch, and I think that y'all will really enjoy the music and the conversation. So that's what we're going to have happen right now, and I know that it's about to turn a little bit on the dark side, as it's already getting to be about 5 o'clock, and we are here on winter solstice. So that's right, today is the winter solstice day, but we're going to go live with some music, some blues music to keep y'all going in a nice and steady pace. And I know a lot of folks are looking forward to hearing that check coming their way. I know I am, and I know a number of others are as well. But let's check the blues music instead. Playing some of Karen Wolf's music. waiting for the Biden administration to take hold in January. And of course, we still got folks that are being stubborn, still doing suits and other things, claiming that there is still fraud and other things going on, even though everybody else knows that they have lost the election. But some folks just want to be stubborn and don't want to know what's going on in the world. But we've got all kinds of great and amazing folks that are going to be joining us in this conversation. Looking forward to having a great dialogue about what they're doing. And so I'm going to bring in some of the folks, including some folks that I know from the world. So definitely the world of the music is very exciting. So looking forward to that. I see my friend Tim Sohn has popped in and has made a comment. He's watching us from Pennsylvania. I don't know if he had watched the earlier show where we were talking about nutrition and all of that, but definitely, who knows, he may decide to pop in as well. I'm gonna start off with maybe talking to Nelly, since Nelly is the version that brought me all of these amazing ladies, and then we'll be bringing them in one by one as well. So right now, I'm gonna bring Nelly back on and everything. How you doing, Nelly Tiger Travis? And definitely glad to have you here with me and everything. And definitely we'll be bringing in these other amazing ladies, and y'all can talk about what y'all are doing and everything. But how are you doing on this particular Monday that I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods, but we had all kinds of rain. But how are things going where you are, and how is the life treating you on this particular Monday, Nelly? And then, like I said, I'll bring in some of these other amazing ladies. I don't know all of who will be joining, but I know we've got Dee Dee Simmons and Jess Terrell, and I see that Aaron Wolf is with us as well. So some other ones may be joining us. But and Tim just said that it's raining where he's at. He's over there in Pennsylvania, so he's in Pennsylvania, and he was letting me know that it's raining there. Like I said, we had rain earlier, and we may be getting some more rain later. So how are things going where you are and all of that? So I'd love to know
Well,
how things
it's a little. It looks a little cloudy today. It wasn't rain early this morning when I went out, but it was kind of bad last night. It rained forever. I
are.
mean, like really forever last night. So, but even so, it's pretty good. It's not. It's a little cold. It kind of reminds me of Chicago a little bit, but those are some things that we have to get used to. At least it's not snowing,
Yep,
so
that's
that's
true.
a good thing.
No snow, and I'm not a big fan of snow. I went to school in Milwaukee, so I saw enough snow back in the early 80s. I don't need to see it anymore. Not the big snow or anything along those lines. I'm going to bring in Miss Dee Dee Simmons and a couple of the other ones
Simon,
as well. So definitely we'll
Simon.
bring in Jess as well. How you doing? And everybody, glad to see y'all on here. And we're going to bring in some other
Hey,
folks and see how everybody's doing. So I'm interested to learn more about y'all. I've met Nellie Tiger Travis, and I know a little bit about her musical background being a blues DJ for a number of years. But I'd love to
right.
hear about you, Chess Terrell, and I'd love to hear about you, Dee Dee Simmons. And I've actually had the pleasure of playing Karen Wolf's music, so I think I'll bring Karen in as well next. But I'd love to hear a little bit about you. So I'll start with you, Jess. Tell us a little bit about your musical background and what you're all about, because I know that you are involved in this great project that's going on with all of you great ladies. But I'd love to know more about you, Jess. So I'm turning it over to you first, and then I'll come to Dee Dee as well. So I understand that one is one of the masterminds behind organizing this whole thing. So I'll turn it over to you first, Jess.
Yes, I am from Chicago. I'm living currently in DC. My musical background come from gospel singing. My father was a gospel singer. He sung with the Soul Stirrers in his early years, and my uncle was also a singer. He sung with the Impressions. My grandmother raised me and brought us into the church, and we were singing gospel music. By the time I turned 16, that I decided to sing the secular music. And when I say I got older, I decided I wanted to sing blues and southern soul. So that's where I've been in the last 20 years.
Okay, sounds great. And I'm definitely a big fan of Southern Soul. Dee Dee, tell me a little bit about yourself. And then I just saw in the chat that Karen is telling me that it's actually snowing in Memphis. I don't know if I could get with snow in Memphis, but we'll bring her
Man.
Mm.
afterwards. But definitely tell me
Oh
a little bit about yourself, Dee
no.
Dee.
Hi, my name is Dee Dee Simon. I'm originally from Oakland, California. I've been singing since the age of 4. I started singing in the project Dream Girls, as it was introduced to me from a theater group, And my first solo was Precious Lord. I never forget it. And after that, I couldn't stop. I started writing stage plays that I funded to go from state to state. I started uh, doing albums as people thought that it would be a good idea to help me do that. No one in my family sings. Nobody, and you don't want to hear them either. No one in the nobody in this family sings. So I was the loudest in the house. We had the loudest house on the block, and here I am still singing.
It's interesting you said that nobody in your family sings. Like I said, I'm going to bring Karen in and talk to her as well as a couple of other guests that y'all have assembled for me and everything. But it's interesting that you said that because one of the other podcasts that I do earlier on the IBM TV network, there was a gentleman, Jan Cooper, who is a vocal coach from the area of Canada, and he was claiming that anybody could sing, and I was going like, nope, I know I cannot sing. I know my skill set, it's radio and other things, but he was claiming that anybody could sing, and he was also claiming that we need to learn how to sing in other languages because sometimes we miss the market because we're not singing toward those folks that might be in other languages. So he's trying to coach how to sing in like Mandarin and Latin kind of
Yeah.
dialects and other things. So that's one of the things he was encouraging folks. And he was of the opinion that everybody can sing, but I'm not of that opinion. But right now, I'm going to bring in Karen and everybody. And I think we've got one or two other ones. Oh, there's Tiffany. So, and then I'll bring in Karen as well. So there we go. There's Karen. Karen Wolf has joined us as well as Tiffany. I was telling Nellie Tiger Travis that I've actually had the pleasure of playing some of Karen Wolf's music, being a blues DJ in the area. So I'm friends with the folks from Echo and some of the blues labels that are out of Memphis. So they had actually told me about Karen sometimes back, and I've worked for a number of radio stations, Central being one of them, WNCU, and then now WCOM. So I've actually had the pleasure of hearing some of your music, and I'm a big fan of yours, but I'm not a big fan of the fact that there's snow in Memphis. So you have to tell me about how there's snow. So you have to tell me about how there's snow going
Oh
on
my
in
God.
Memphis.
Really?
I'm not a big fan of that either. It's just don't get afraid, ladies. It's just no flurries. That's it. That's it.
Oh, we're
So
taking flurries.
don't be afraid. It's just no flurries. That's it. That's it. Everything is okay. Calm. Let us all calm down. It's gonna be okay. But hi, I'm Karen Wolf. I'm happy that you were able to listen to my music and became a fan of Karen Wolf music. I really appreciate that. My musical background began in gospel also. Um, began maybe at the age of about 5 or 6 years old. My father was a quartet singer and he sang in a quartet group. So we used to just all gather around and sit down and watch his group as they rehearsed at our house. And I was just in awe of it. It just, kind of made me happy to hear them sing. And I was like, I can do that. And my dad was like, "Oh, really? Yeah, you can do it. You can do it." So I said, "Yeah, I can. I think I can do that, Dad." So he just sat me down and he started singing to me and teaching me how to sing different parts and different melodies and I just kind of took it from there. So at 15, I decided to start my own gospel group with my sister and a couple of the ladies, and we did that for years, for a number of years. We put out about 3 gospel albums, and after that, my musical career moved up to singing the blues, singing background for Denise LaSalle. So here I am, and about 2006, I started out on my own. She just okay, if you say so. I had to leave the nest and go ahead and do it on my own. So since 2006, there's been Karen Wolf ever since, and here I am.
Doing some great things and everything. I did want to get to Tiffany as well. But before I get to Tiffany, tell folks that are not as familiar with the Memphis music scene what that is like. And then, of course, I love to hear from Nelly about Chicago and Atlanta. But I'd love to hear your take on the Memphis music scene because I know it was a few years back that I went to one of the big music awards that takes place there and really enjoyed the vibe of Memphis and definitely want to get back to that area. But just if you would share a little bit about what that whole music scene is like in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, the music scene here in Memphis, Tennessee is really huge. It's just like Chicago and all of the the places where they have the big music festivals. We have a thing called Memphis in May, and that is huge. Of course, we couldn't have it this year because of the virus, but every year there's Memphis in May, and people come from all walks of life, all around to come from Memphis in May, and they have some of the greatest artists there. I mean, it's just from the biggest artist in the world to the smallest artist in the world. They pretty much give everybody a chance. And that's what I like about it. It's just a big festival where everybody come, listen to all of the music, all types of music, and that is just awesome. It's fun. It's a
It
lot of fun.
sounds like it's a lot of fun and everything. So, Tiffany, if you would, I'd love to hear a little bit about you and everything. So, if you can turn yourself off of mute and share with our audience a little bit about yourself and what your musical background is, I'm sure folks would love to hear about your journey as well.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Tiffany Robinson. My stage name is Tip the Singer, and I have been singing soul music for about a year now. And so, of course, just like everyone else, my background, I started in church, and I'm just like Dee Dee, I'm the only one in my family that sings. So every funeral and everything is me. So, and and I've always loved and I always sung background. So that was really kind of like where I came from. And in church, my grandmother made me get up and sing and do solo. So I would say I've been singing ever since I was a little girl. I was in community choirs, singing, and it's a lot. I'm from Dallas, Texas, so there's a lot of great artists down here. And so as far as the blues and Southern soul, um, I started out dancing, and so I would go and listen to the different bands. So I would go to the Blues Palace and hear RL and different live bands. I would go and participate. And one day, a band was playing, and it was a featured artist there, and
she was calling different people up to sing. And so I was just like, oh, I think I want to try it. And so I went up and I sung. And ever since then, that's where my relatable experience was. I love the feeling. I love the fact that the audience was engaging and I enjoyed it. And so I went into the studio and and tried it. My first time was horrible, but after that, I just really realized that it was something that I really wanted to do. I enjoy doing, and that was really my start, but definitely not my finish. So I was able to sing at the Blues Palace and open up for a lot of artists. I did the We Are the World, which is with Dee Dee, and so it was just an awesome experience. And I'm just excited. I'm kind of rather new to it, but I'm definitely not new to the music industry. And so it's been fabulous. It's been fabulous. It's been a wonderful experience.
Sounds like it's been a great journey for you and everything.
It
Want to bring
has.
Crystal into the conversation as well. So Crystal can share a little bit about her background as well. So Crystal, it's your turn to tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to Southern Soul and blues music and gospel and whatever other musical connections you got. So I'd love to hear more about you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Hello, Queens. Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Thomas. I'm from a little country town called Mansfield, Louisiana. C'est les bon temps, les roulés. The good times roll. Y'all know how we do it down south. Just as everyone else, I started in church. I've been singing since the age of 2. My mother sang, my dad played guitar. All of my grandparents, my cousins, everyone was in the church choir. I actually majored in music in college. The alumni of Jackson State University. Had the privilege of playing with Mr. Johnny Taylor before he died, playing trombone. I've been writing music since the 5th grade and producing since the 7th. I have been singing, and especially the blues, coming up with my grandparents' Muddy Water, John Lee Hooker. So I've been singing that deep toe tapping blues all my life. Coming on the scene, I did my first album in 2015, and now I'm working on my third. And it's just a privilege to be able to work amongst so many phenomenal and talented women like the Queens. And again, just honored to be here. So that's it for me.
Definitely sounds like y'all are doing some great things and all of that. So, Dee Dee, if you could, I would love to hear more about how this whole Queens process came about, because I understand that you were one of the people that was kind of like at the forefront of everything that was going on. So I'd love to hear more about how this whole process came about. And of course, we've got 6 of the ladies. So if you want to tell us about the other 4 that are not here, and maybe they'll join us later, but if you want to share a little bit of their story as well and how this whole project came about, I'd love to know that from you.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, I was sitting there and I was like, I want to do this amazing project with ladies because the Southern Soul genre of music is dominated by the males. And I said, well, how can I do something bigger than that? I want to do something bigger than that. And I really didn't know. I said, well, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to make a wish list of who I would want to have on the album with me. I know there are a lot of Southern Soul female singers, but this was my personal wish list. Okay, didn't mean nothing about nobody else, but I went for my personal wish list. So I had a receipt in the car, and I was sitting in the car while my son was playing basketball, and I just started writing down the names, and then I'd be like, will they do it? And I put a question mark by them. I move it down to the bottom. Then I just kept making this list. Then finally, I got the nerves to kind of call some of the people. Like I already worked with Crystal and Tip and Miss Pat, so I knew that we had a good experience. And the first thing we did, We Are the World. I said, well, there. I said, I'm just gonna hope they say yeah, and I say I'm busy. And they said yes. So I didn't ask them first because I already worked with them. I was more comfortable with talking to them. But the Nellies and the Karens, I didn't know what the heck they was gonna say. I kept milling around with it, and then one day I just said, let me call, and I just inboxed them. And I wouldn't say anything, but just to see if they would even say anything to me. I just said, hey, you know, and then then they'll reach back and be like, hey. So I said, okay, conversation is starting. So that's when I just, say, hey, I want you to do something with me. And Nelly was like, well, what are you talking about? Now that I know how she talked, I can hear how it was said. But she said, well, let me talk to you about it. And we talked about it, and we just really connected with how we, talk and vibe. And we're very upfront and we're real. So, it was easy. And she said that she would be a part of it. But I knew that coming to Nelly and Karen, not taken from any of the other ladies, it had to be right because they've been out there a long time and they, pretty much laid the foundation. So I couldn't come with no mess. So I kind of let them know who I had on my wish list, and they kind of agreed with it. Some of the people they didn't know, but I encouraged them. No, they sound really good. Listen, they don't know a lot of these people. Because they up there. So when I moved to Karen, it was the same thing, and Karen was like, I didn't know what they was gonna say. I just, hey, let's do this, and Karen was like, okay, and then we started talking more, and everything just started coming together, and then I was like, y'all want to be a part of this? I can ask Tip and Crystal and Jesse and all them, do they want to be a part of this? Because I got whoop the whoop the whoop the whoop on this project, and it sounded a lot more sweeter. So putting the project together, it became more of a sisterhood. It became, more of something that is real. Everything is not going to be easy. Everybody's not going to agree, but that's what you expect as sisters, and I expect that. And so it became more than what I ever dreamed of it being because we like pretty much have each other's back. If you see us do an interview, we're talking about all the people in this group. I'm like, hold on, let me tell you about what's going on. I got these fabulous ladies. So we're always uplifting each other. And that meant the most to me. And it put a lot of people on notice that, hey, ladies, we need to do this. We need to get together and take over this market. So I'm grateful that they were a part of it. Lady Q and the other people that are here, Zelda, Miss Pat, Crescenda, and I think that's it.
All right. Definitely sounds like it's a great project, and I know a lot of folks are going to be looking forward to hearing it and all of that. So definitely, I know a lot of folks are going to be really excited when they hear the music and everything. Was there anybody, Dee Dee, that you were hoping that you would get on your wish list that for whatever reason you weren't able to get them, or that you still would like to have them if there's a part two or part three, or if there anybody that's on that wish list that you had? Because like you said, you kept a list, and I'm wondering if there was anybody that was on that list that you haven't had the nerve to reach, or that you've been trying to reach but you haven't quite gotten to them. So I was just wondering if there was anybody in that list because you have some amazing ladies already.
Yes. Well, the list, the only two nervous ones were the ones in it already. But Lacey, I did reach out to Lacey, and they never responded. So, and actually, to keep it really straight, she never even looked at the message. So I don't know who works her messenger, and I don't really have her number, and I didn't want nobody reaching out to her before me and saying, "Hey, Dee Dee's trying to reach you." I wanted it to be from the grassroots.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna see her next weekend, and I'll be able to talk to her and be like, "Hey, girl, why you didn't hit me back?" But
Right.
other than that, that was the other person.
Gotcha. So Nelly, when you found out about this project, tell me a little bit about your thoughts about the project when you first heard about it, and your excitement about being on this project. And I'd like to hear the same from Karen. But I'll start with Nelly, and then I'll hear from Karen, since y'all are the all stars that are part of the list according to the way Dee Dee has described everything. So I'd love to hear from Nelly what your thought was when Dee Dee approached you.
Well, in the beginning, I couldn't get excited because she was like, I'm doing a project, you in? And I'm like, I don't answer to stuff like that. I'm used to people coming to me, kind of like on the straight thing. And and she said, well, I told her I was gonna need more information, and she gave me more information. I'm like, that's cool, because I told her, I said, living in Chicago for years, I tried to get females together, and it was hard because they were just so females. You know what I'm saying? So when she did mention, after she explained everything, I'm like, I'm in 200%. I mean, it's an awesome experience, and like she said, we have gathered a sisterhood, and I just enjoy talking to them because I'm just the fool in the bunch. I like to have fun, and I'm also the peacemaker. If there's any peace out of order, we've always done pretty well though. But that was what I'm so excited that she did it, and what we tend to do is carry it on further than we are now with other females, A lot of females jumped in and they're saying, oh, well, she didn't bother to get me or she didn't do this. It's only so many people at so many times, but there is opportunities for other ladies to join us.
Sounds great. Karen, I'd love to hear your reaction when Didi approached you and everything. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts were when you first got this project and came to you. And it sounds like you had that same kind of reaction where it was some newbie that was approaching you in terms of like the knowledge base and everything. So what was your thoughts when you heard from Didi?
Well, actually, I didn't consider her as a newbie because she had already won an award. So that to me was pretty big. I was like, okay, I liked her spirit as well too. So I'm like, so Dee Dee Simon is the staff out there, huh? She won the award and everything. So I was like, okay, I love her spirit. Every time I met her a few times, and every time I met her, her spirit was the same. It was always that bubbly, happy-go-lucky type person, and I'm that same kind of person. So I love when when I meet those type spirits. So when she called, I was like, what's going on here? With Didi calling. But when she called, she was such a humble person. It was no problem for me to go ahead and say I call myself Leary Lily because I'm leery of everybody. I'm kind of nervous when it comes to joining in with other people. I'm like Nelly on that one with other women because sometimes we can be catty, and I'm like, and I just didn't want the cattiness. But when she started naming off the people, and I assumed, I know I'm all over the place, but I assumed that she had already talked to Nelly, and Nelly had already told her, hey, I don't answer to no stuff like that. So when she came to me, she gave me a little more information than she did Nelly. So I guess she, I guess she had already dealt with Nelly. So she's like, I better give her a little bit more information. So she gave me a little more information. So when she did, I immediately said yes when she named off the ladies because I already knew most of the ladies, just not all of them. I think Tip the singer was one I didn't know. I had met Zelda, but didn't even remember that I had met her, and I think that was about it that I didn't know because I already knew Crystal. Jessie came on later, but I already knew her. Of course, Nelly and I go way back. So, and I already knew Lady Q, and Lady Q was, like a good friend to me too. So I already knew most of them. And when she named off the people that she had, of course, not taking anything from any other ladies. When she said Nelly, that was a go for me from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my sister from another mother. You know what I'm saying? So when she said
Yeah.
Nelly, that just automatically gave it for me. And then when she started naming the rest of them, Crystal and Lady Q, and she was like, oh, I said, who is Tip? She said, oh, she can sing. So I looked her up immediately, and I was like, yeah, she can sing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this may be a good thing. Okay, I'm gonna lay Leary Lily to the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I'm here, and I have enjoyed it from the very beginning up to now. It has been an awesome, awesome project. These ladies are wonderful. The ones that's on here, the ones that are not on here, we have just been having a ball. And it's just really odd to see 10 ladies get together and really empower each other and really encouraging each other and mean it from our hearts. And that's the thing that just has been drawing me ever since. These are like my sisters. I have
And the
9
best
nieces.
is yet to come.
Got some new
Yes.
sisters and everything. That's a great thing. And I know we had one of the audience members, Miss Amelia McDonald, said lots of strong women on the show. So she was noticing
Thank
that
you,
y'all were some
Amelia.
great strong women. And she was also saying to Tiger Travis that you were definitely got that shiny outfit on. So she was saying
Girl,
how
you know how
shiny
it
you
is
are.
in the business. Thank you,
So,
Amelia.
so she was noticing that and everything. But one of the things I was curious about, and I had talked to Nelly Tiger Travis about this, but I'd love to hear from all of y'all. And I think Laquita is on as well, but I don't see her face on. So hopefully she'll put on her camera and we can get her onto the whole conversation as well. But one of the things that we've talked about, me and Nelly Tiger Travis, is just the impact of the industry. And one of my founders here on IBM TV is a woman entrepreneur. So I just wondered if y'all could talk about how the ladies are treated in the industry, because I do find that sometimes y'all don't get the kind of respect that y'all should get. So I'd love to hear from all of y'all in that regard. So I'll start with you, Dee Dee, and then we'll go to some of the other ones. Dee Dee's good at whole neck thing, so I'll let the others talk as well. Then we'll bring in Laquita as well. But after we have this conversation, then I'll bring in Laquita. But Dee Dee, talk a little bit about what's going on with the industry and how women are treated by the mainstream record industry and even in the blues industry.
Well, I was signed to an Interscope for a while, and it's very different. You know how you see all the entourages that the males have. Women don't get those entourages. It's pretty much the male wants to hook up, so they don't really want you to have no entourage, really. And at the end of it, either you put up or you shut up. And I was very, how do you say? I adored the women that had their parents that managed them, because they didn't have to go through that. The Brandies and the Monicas and all of them didn't have to go through that. But for a woman coming up trying to make it, it's like, well, hey, I like you. So how far you really want this to go? And I personally, when I was told that, um, I packed my stuff and I said, well, I'll tell you how far I'm gonna go. I'm going back home. So I packed out my stuff, and I didn't feel that it was I didn't feel like it ruined my career. It just wasn't my route. It wasn't my route. So I feel like men, they know that they know they are dominant. So they dominate the radio, they dominate the shows, they dominate the promotions, they're more the managers. So if you don't have a strong foundation and not lay down for anything, then you'll get sucked up by so many women that just think, well, if I'm with him, he's going to make sure I'm going to get to the next level. And they never got to the next level, and they were brokenhearted. So, and it happens. And I always had the motto for women: if you want to lay down with somebody, that's cool, but do it because you like them. Don't do it because you're trying to get a record. And I can't just lay down with you for a record. I gotta at least like you. Okay. So that's why I say, you know, either you in or you out. Either you in or you out. They just, it's not fair. And the women, and even okay, so even the women that in the Southern Soul, even the women that come see the shows for the men, they come see the shows for the men, and they love the men. We know that, we get that, but when their hearts get broke, then they want to put on our songs, you know. So we just want the same draw. We know we here for when your heart get broke and when you want us to twerk. You understand? Or when we got to share you with somebody else. But you'll be with them. You'll come pack the place out for the men who broke your heart. So it just don't make no sense to me. So it don't really help us. That's how I have to say.
Yep. Jesse, I'd love to hear your take on this as well. And I also want to bring in the concept of radio. Like I said, worked in the radio field, having worked at mostly nonprofit radio stations, but I got friends in the commercial radio space. And I know that a lot of times they don't give enough respect to even giving you ladies play and things of that nature. And sometimes you got to go to the small stations like the college stations and the other stations. But I was wondering if you could talk about even the impact of radio and how they treat you ladies on the radio markets. Because I know that, as many folks know, there's only about two or three primary forces in the radio world, whether that's Clear Channel, whether that's Radio One, or a number of the other ones. And a lot of times they'll leave out Southern Soul. But I'd love to hear your take on what's going on.
It's definitely hard to get into mainstream radio. I have tried several times, even if just by sending my music to DJs that I knew that was on mainstream radio, and they never respond back. They never play it. They don't even send the album back to you. At least give me some feedback. I have put in writing. If you can give me a little feedback to tell me what it is I need to do to even get into the mainstream, I will appreciate that. But never hear a word from them. That's the only problem I've ever had with the radio. A lot of internet radios, they're looking for you to pay them. Okay, they'll start out playing your music, and then they'll come back to you later and say, well, for $50 a month, we'll put you in rotation. We ran into some of that with the women. I don't know about the men if they're having that problem, but seems like it's always about money when it
Wow.
comes down
What
to
about you, Tiffany? What's been your experience with us? What's been going on in the music industry and the radio industry, even in some of the concerts and things of that nature?
Well, of course, I'm very new to the industry, and I have like one single out right now. And I would say that I have gotten pretty good responses as far as them actually playing my song, but as far as keeping it in rotation, I would say that I don't really hear of that. And I do see that on the flyers there are a lot of, and so the men are really dominating as far as their songs because they can talk about anything. And if it's catchy, the women are going to naturally gravitate to it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, we dance, we're the entertainers. They sing, and then we entertain the men. We do. We dance, we twerk, we do whatever we do. And so if they do any kind of relatable song, I mean, they can talk about anything. I mean, he's my friend, but little Jimmy have a song called No Draws On. And I mean, they play it all the time because it's catchy and it's just something that people gravitate to. So I do feel that at sometimes that it's like talent does not always overrule what's popular, if that makes any sense. And also, when you are dealing with people that are kind of popular that they like, their songs are going to be more in rotation versus a new person or a woman. So it's just kind of hard. And you really got to, we have, it seems as if we have to work a little bit harder, which is why I'm so grateful of being a part of this sisterhood because we really cover each other and we push each other. And so that's the good thing about it. But yeah, it is definitely a struggle. But we're
Oh
we're
yeah, definitely,
persevering and
no
we're
doubt
gonna
about
push
that.
through it.
Karen, I'd love to hear some of your reflections. You've been in the industry for a number of years, so I'd love to hear some of your thoughts as to how the industry has treated you. I know that I'm a big fan of what I call message music, even in some of Southern Soul, and there have been some folks that have definitely put out some songs like that. Like I'm a fan of Shamika Copeland, and we know that she's done some songs that have touched on some really hard. Also, the late great Debbie did some stuff. Deborah Coleman did some stuff that was around some very serious issues and things of that nature. But I don't oftentimes find that enough of those are getting through. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because I know sometimes when I hear some of those songs, whether it's about abuse, whether it's about some of the things that Shamika Copeland has talked on, even about Black Lives Matter, that I don't always feel that it gets the kind of airplay that it should get. But I was just wondering your thoughts.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with the other ladies, Dee Dee, Jesse, and Tiffany, as far as it being um, a one-way street, I would say. I've had some good experiences and some bad experiences. The music industry now, as far as male versus female, the males are definitely more dominant. They can get one hit song and you can have 10 playing on the radio, and they will definitely override whatever those 10 songs that that female is having played on radio and gravitate to that one song that that one gentleman is singing. The shows, when you get on shows with them, there's not a whole lot of respect for women. They want to throw the woman up there first because it's one woman on the show. They'll do 10 men and one woman on the show, and then they'll throw her over, to open up the show and get her out the way, unless you have, such a big hit as Nelly have, Mr. Sexy Man, then, you may get a little more respect, but I'm sure even Nelly, as big as her song is, have experienced some of the same things. They just will get you in a place of wanting to address it with them, but then sometimes some things are better left unsaid, when it comes to that. And even radio, when it's time for the female, the ladies' music to be played, again, they will choose that one song that the whatever whatever male that is, is whatever the song. I'm like Tiffany. No draws on. Come on. I mean, really? You know, and they'll just take that, and that means everything to some people. You know what I'm saying? They'll take just that one line, no draws. Oh, he talking about no draws on. Oh, that's the jam. No, it's not the jam to me. Because sometimes you have to put things into perspective and say, okay, things have to be a little more how do you say what's the word I'm trying to use, ladies? A little more. You have to have a little more taste when or with some of the music out there. You don't always have to be tasteless with music to get it played because some of us have some of the best music out there, and we because we're women, we just don't get the respect of getting it played right away. We don't, you know. Now I have several songs that's being played on radio that you wouldn't know it when it comes to doing a show. You wouldn't be able to know that because the first thing they want to do is put Karen Whoop up to go ahead and get out the way so all the men can come up and do their thing. So, you know, it's almost a lose-lose situation sometimes. But like Tiffany say, and like Dee Dee say, and like Jesse say, we're going to persevere and we're going to press through it. And women are going to come on top because we run this work.
No, no doubt about that. I mean, y'all got a woman vice president who I am convinced will be president probably before everything is said and done and everything. So I definitely think that she's on that fast track to being the first female president, Miss Kamala Harris, and everything. So I think that that
Oh,
will
yeah.
probably
Oh, yeah.
happen at some point or
Oh, yeah.
another. But Crystal, I'd love to hear your take on the music industry. And just to add to the conversation, I agree with y'all that sometimes the women might have a song that is a very popular song. It might even be a song that's very popular and folks love the song. They might even love the double entendre because one of the things I love about Southern Soul is it's got some great double entendres. But then sometimes that musician kind of disappears. And I'll even give an example. I was a big fan of a Texas musician by the name of Vicki Baker. And Vicki Baker did that song called "Don't Give Me No Lip," and then she just kind of like disappeared, even though that was a classic double entendre song. And then I understand that she might be trying to make some comebacks on occasion now and everything. But I am hearing that from some of my Texas friends that she's on the road to making somewhat of a comeback. But she had that song that was a number of years back, and that was after that song that we kind of like saw her fade off the scene there for a while. But Crystal, I'd love to hear your take on the music industry. Don't know if Crystal heard me and is waiting to hear from Crystal if she's got any comments. So I'll see if I can get her. She might be on mute. So I'll see if I can get
She
her
is
off
on
of
mute.
mute.
She is a
Yep.
crystal.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's on her end, so she had to unmute on her side. If she's there, you go.
Okay, she's got it now. Go back again, Crystal. It's okay. You're good.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Okay, I'm off mute.
Yep.
I personally think the music bar has been lowered. It dropped so far. Uh, I hear mainstream songs that aren't musically correct, in the wrong key, people singing out of tune. And these are the people that get the most radio play. These are the people that are on the top of the charts. These are the ones that get the most shows. As far as being a woman out here, I think the respect for us overall is so small to where it's hard to respect the talent and skill set that we possess. So now it's not just that we're women out here singing and playing and doing all these great things that the men are doing, but we're considered to be threats now because we can do it just as good as they can. And without the opportunity, a lot of people never get to see that. On radio, a lot of the mainstream radio don't even play a lot of Southern Soul because it's not mainstream. Therefore, a lot of your best artists never get heard. A lot of the program directors are afraid to play the music that's relevant now. They still want to play all of the greats. And even if you look at the music reviews and the shows that are out, most of those greats are dead and gone. So we are the greats now. We are the up and coming greats. And we need that radio play to get in front of the people. The industry is totally different than it was 30 years ago, to where you had record companies and labels going out doing the work. Now everybody pretty much getting it out the mud. So we have the same opportunity to get heard, but unless the program directors and the promoters and even with the men, I don't want to be on shows where men look at us as just some female doing something. I want to feel safe around my brothers out here on the road sing songs. I want to know that there's room for songs with a message in it. Because the people we need that. We don't need to hear no clown music all day long. I know people who would not come.
Yeah, I think she dropped off and everything, so hopefully
Wow,
she'll
that
come
was
back.
good stuff.
But yeah, she was giving some serious knowledge, so hopefully she'll come back. But Nelly, I'd love to hear from you, and then I'm also going to bring in Laquita as well. But I'd love to hear your takes on the industry, and then we'll bring in Laquita so folks can learn about her and her connection to the Queen's Project as well. But Nelly, let me hear your takes on what's going on in the music industry.
Well, for me, I've been through the storm. I've been on a lot of shows with the guys, and they treated me as if I was a guy. It was no sophistication. It was no my sister. That type of thing. And I've always complained about that. But I think with us, the way we're set up now, the way we're setting each other up, we're going to be doing our own shows. We're totally open for the first show you book for the next year coming up. We're ready for that. We're totally ready. But with a lot of the guys, I think what it is, women love music, men love music, but for somehow women dominate over their males. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys, you will not just see guys at female shows because of their women. You know what I'm saying? Because their women is not gonna like the fact that they're. I heard a lady in Chicago once. She was like, "My husband don't look at me like that." I said, "Well, you got to go home with them." They were watching the Bobby Rush show, and she was like, "My butt's not that big," So she got a little upset about that. But to say that, I'm saying that to say is that's how a lot of women just cater to men, and for them to be dominated. And one other thing about the men that do them, a lot of them don't require a lot of money. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of them doing free shows. So we this and that those are some that have jobs or whatever. But we don't I don't have a day job, and several other the artists don't, but the ones that don't have a day job, that is my work. And I've done free shows, with no problem. But for some reason, it's easy for them to get gigs if they're not gonna charge a fee to get paid. And they can have a name or have a lot of records out. And with the radio stations with playing our music, we get a lot of play, but it's community play, so you don't stand to make money from your music. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a give and take situation. But with the Queens, what we plan to do, we're getting ready to throw all female shows, and we're gonna rock it just like that. That's everybody that's in. If you in, you in. We in. We gonna make it happen.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be an amazing show. Like I said, I've heard some of y'all's music, and I know that y'all have some tremendous talent. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to bringing it here to North Carolina at some point or another, because I know that there's definitely a rich vibe here in North Carolina. A lot of folks love the Southern soul here in the Carolina. So definitely looking forward to having y'all
Well,
come and join here in the Triangle area. So definitely looking forward to that. It's interesting, Nelly, that you mentioned Bobby Rush and everything, because I remember one of the blues festivals that I was at, they actually got mad at him because of him having those kind of dancers that that lady was talking about. And it was actually a young white woman, and she actually sent. I was actually belonging to and still am involved with the Cultural Arts Center that sponsored that blues festival. And I remember we got several emails because folks were like, thinking that it was a children's festival and he had those ladies doing the dance and all of that. But we were basically like, look, it wasn't like he was doing it at a off hour, because it was actually the time he came on the stage. It was like around 10:30 or 11 o'clock or something along those lines. So he was actually toward the back end and everything. So
and
we
that's
were actually
their
thinking that
job.
exactly he was doing his
It's
job.
yeah. It's that's their job. It's a job. It's not like they get naked. It's none of that. They're only dancing. They're not
Right.
even on a pole. They're just if they were on a pole, it might be a different subject. I probably would have joined Bobby on that note. But however, it's just their job, and people just tend to look at it the wrong way, and I think it's very disrespectful.
No, I agree with you on that. I did want to bring in Laquita. I think Laquita has been on the backstage, and I wanted to learn more about Laquita's background and Laquita's connection to Southern Soul and this part of this great sisterhood that is here as well. And of course, I do have the Crystal is back at everything, and I think we've got. But I'm waiting to hear if they can get their device connected because right now I'm not seeing their face and everything. But hopefully Zelda will bounce back in, and we'll see Zelda in a little bit as well. But Laquita, share a little bit about your background. These are some amazing ladies, and I'd love to learn more about your connection to these amazing ladies and what's going on with this whole Southern Soul movement and this Queens project because y'all are all doing some great things. I'm a big fan of Southern Soul, but I'd love to hear more about you as I don't know your music as well. Oh, you got to get off of mute.
Hello, I'm Lady Q, Queen of Soul. I've been in the music industry for, am I too noisy? For 2 years now, almost three. And I'm really enjoying it. I mean, uh, when Dee Dee reached out to me, I was really excited about the project. I wasn't sure what the project was gonna be like, but once I was added to the group and I saw the lineup, I was like, oh yeah, this is something I want to be a part of. One because I'm all about encouraging other queens. I've always been the type that like to encourage people. So it's been great for me as far as the shows and dealing with the guys. I mean, I've seen a lot of favoritism more toward the guys. The women are supporting the male. The males are dominant, and so I always observe and see that it's one female on the show, or we don't get to pay. And I feel like we're doing the work. We're hard at it, just like the guys. And most of us are writing our own music, so we're really taking a stand, in this industry. But I'm
Yeah,
excited about working with the Queen. We got so many big ideas. Dee Dee is just, pushing us, and I'm looking forward to what's to come.
definitely sounds like a great project and everything. Like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to it. You said that you're one of the newer members. What got you involved in Southern Soul? And were you like a lot of these other ladies? Did you come out of the world of gospel, or what brought you into the whole Southern Soul family? Tell us a little bit more of your musical journey.
Well, I actually did come out of gospel, but in 1994, I was with a female group. Was called Ecstasy, and we won in several local areas, talent shows, and had opportunity to go to the Soul Train Music Awards. And so I pushed really hard working with those ladies. And then when we split up, I went back into the church. And so that's where I've basically been ever since until uh, 2018.
Okay, that's when you got into more of the Southern Soul. And what was it
Mhm.
about Southern Soul that was really enhancing you, and that you wanted to get more into like the blues side of things? Or what about blues
Well,
attracted you to this style of music?
well, the blues I mean, I grew up on the blues. I love it. My dad played the guitar, and I would make songs to his beat, and I was the only child out of three other siblings that took the interest in his music. And so my dad also had a blues group. Him and his brothers had formed a blues group. So that's all I heard every Saturday morning in my household. So I've always said if I ever could go, they always ask me if you could do it again once the group broke up. Uh, how would you go about doing it? I told them I would go in blues or gospel. That's the only way that I would go solo.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. I'd like to hear from Didi and the rest of them. And actually, I know Nelly's got kids as well. But a lot of times, what we're also hearing with a lot of folks is what's going on in the world is a lot with Black Lives Matter and a number of other things. And I know, Didi, you mentioned that you got a child. I know that Nelly's got children as well. So I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts about how it is touring, but also trying to respect your kids and the whole dynamics of the family and things of that nature, and also trying to make sure that they are staying safe because this is a rough world that we're living in for our Black males and everything. So I'd love to hear y'all's perceptions around that. So I'll start with you first, Didi, because you did mention that you've got a child. And I know,
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. He's 15, and my son is lucky and blessed to be my child because because I give him all the game that I was given on the streets. So I make sure he's game tight. Um, I have him in one of the best schools. because I want him to be educated. I also want him to have a diverse community as well. But I make him responsible. When I see stuff on television that really bothers me, especially with the Black Lives Movement, I come to him and I say, hey, I need you to write an essay on what you just saw because I want to know your feelings. So he'll sit down and write me a paper on everything he saw. And sometimes he tries to, make it all pretty. And I said, no, go back and do it again. I want to know what you saw. And sometimes he tries to, one, because it's too much work. I'm very protective. I make sure he doesn't have to want anything. I want him to know how to change a tire. I want him to know how to cut the grass. So I'm trying to train him the same way I was trained, not like grandparents train you, where they give you everything. So I hope I said what I was going to say.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'd love to hear Jesse's thoughts as well. And I'm not sure if Jesse's got kids or not, but I'd love to hear Jesse and Tiffany's thoughts. And just to let you know, Dee Dee, I actually just had gone to the store earlier today. I did not know this gentleman, and I actually mentioned on one of my other podcasts, I didn't know him from Adam, and I know that that's that old saying. He actually just lost his 15-year-old son earlier yesterday in a drive-by shooting. So literally, he told me that, and he was working on two jobs. So we actually went to a dollar store. He had just left the grocery store to the dollar store, and just yesterday he lost his son. So I definitely can have deep passion for folks that are going through these kind of hard times and everything. And like I said, I didn't know him from Adam, but he did put out to his heart what was going on in his life, and I shared with him my own compassion with what he was going through. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, Jesse, as to some of the things that are going on in our community and you as well, Tiffany.
Yes, I do have one daughter. I don't have any boys. I have four grandchildren, and three of them are boys. The older one is 16 years old, and he doesn't even like to go out. He, because of everything that's going on. He had an assignment where it was doing with the guitar, and he had to go up to school and get his guitar, and he wouldn't go. So his father had to end up going up there getting his guitar for him. And to me, it's really sad because the young people can't go out, especially young Black men, and they're afraid to catch the bus, to even